The conversation surrounding the 2023 presidential election is still ongoing, with some different developments coming up by the day, and Nigerians are eager to know exactly what will be the outcome of these developments. And different stakeholders and the major players in the polity continue to maybe take Nigerians by surprise. Just recently, the All Progressives Congress, which happens to be the party at the central, had 3 more aspirants declaring to run for the presidency in Edo State. Adams Oshomole came out to declare his intention to vie for presidency, and we also have Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, doing the same, and Godswill Akpabio also, who's a former governor in the APC. This is to tell you that the competition is getting heated and more serious by the day. That's just to talk about the APC. We have issues also surrounding the mode of primaries to be adopted by the party, and this debate, ongoing debate regarding rotational presidency in the PDP as well as the APC. Well, a lot of issues to talk about, really, but first off, let me introduce my studio guests in the studio this morning. I have Mr. Dayaude. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
He is a member of a chieftain of the PDP in the state. I beg your pardon. All right, quickly we begin by let me ask Mr. Why do I keep saying Olimbe?
What? I don't know.
Okay, let me ask.
What do we with that?
Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye, you are a member of the All Progressives Congress, and there have been so many issues in your party recently that has got a lot of people talking. Probably because your party is at the center, and Nigerians are asking questions. First off, the camp of aspirants within the All Progressives Congress continues to swell by the day, swell in number by the day. And most importantly, a lot of these aspirants are people who are within the cabinet of the sitting president. And to a lot of Nigerians, it's starting to seem like a joke. Do you think that the argument about having a democratic internal politics within the party is enough to justify this influx of aspirants in your party by the day?
There could be so many reasons. One of the reasons is what I just mentioned. It could be that the atmosphere of internal democracy and the decision of the president to democratize the process might be one of the reasons too why you have influx of so many big names coming into the arena.
Big fishes.
Yes. These are big elephants. So it could be one of the reasons. But for me, I see politics of identity as the major reason why so many of them are training their hearts. So many people want to
make the name.
Yes, that's okay. The presidency must come to the south, and if it's coming to the south, in the next scheme of things, I must be relevant, I must be well positioned. That could be the reason, or the only reason, why some rushed out to declare their intention, and some may even leave it at that, declare intention, but not pick up the phone. Some may pick up the phone just as a part of what I guess. Yes, gambit. Thank you. So, so many reasons. So many of them, so many reasons. But the truth is, as a party in government, I don't like to use the word in power. It looks too brute to me. You would agree with me that there is tendency, possibility that so many of the members and leaders and these big elephants that are in APC would want to say, I want to be president. None of them, they are competent. They have the track records, they have the names. So they could, say we're a party in government, so we can express our aspiration, we can express our ambition, thinking that they are closer to the seat than the other political party. That kind of confidence may be another reason. So like I said, so many reasons. But the truth is, let all of them understand that this is democracy and there's just one seat. Just one seat. Only one of them can eventually get it.
Okay. Before we go on to other issues, there's been this common rallying point between or within the two major political parties in Nigeria, that's the APC and the PDP, and that's the issue of zoning arrangements. As much as we have that conversation going on in the APC, we also have it in the PDP as well. As a matter of fact, the PDP has shifted its neck meeting about twice now, and probably the May date that has been picked by the party would hold the waters. But first off, this zoning arrangement that we so much talk about, is it democratic enough? Because as a matter of fact, elections are supposed to be based on competence and fairness. Would you say that this zoning arrangement that we so talk about is democratic? Would it portray the kind of democracy Nigeria desires?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think it is democratic. It's a way of, there's no way you would do zoning that some people will not be shut out against their own will or wishes. For me, well, we might say because of the level of our development politically, I said, okay, let's move it here and there. But for me, I don't believe in zoning. That does not mean that it doesn't have its own merit. But globally speaking, on the global scale, I think the demerits are more than the merits. What I think is important is for Nigerians.
In plain terms now, what would you call the demerits of zoning?
I said it earlier. Automatically, it will preclude a section of the country and some people. And I don't think that is fair enough. If my aspiration is to be the president of Nigeria and suddenly somehow my party says my region cannot vie for that position, I am technically shut out. The
reason I asked that question is that the idea behind rotational presidency is so that it goes round every zone in the country.
What is the advantage if it goes round? And what is the disadvantage if it doesn't go round? I think the bottom line is, because we have raised nepotism to the very highest point in our politics and polity, as it were, Nigerians now believe that, okay, let me also take my turn. What we need is good governance. If we have good governance, the system is working, nobody will bother where the president comes from. It will be, okay, what I need is what I'm getting. So why do is it that your brother is there does not mean that he will perform better than another person. But you know that if your brother is there, there is every tendency that will be closer to government than when somebody else is there. So I see it as people viewing it from a very narrow prism. That okay, if a Yoruba man is president, then it is most likely that I will be closer to power than when an Igbo man is president. And I don't think that is what we actually need.
Okay, I think a lot of leaders within the APC, for instance, have contrary opinions. For instance, Ondo State Governor Rotimi recently sent a very strong message to the APC leadership when he said that it's either the South or nothing else. And he even went ahead to say that right about now, the APC leadership should come out to make its position, its stance known on where this presidency ticket will be zoned to. Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye, do you think zoning should be the major bone of contention here?
It's unfortunate that you cannot grow more than your age and you cannot run more than your capacity. Our country, our democracy, the way it is for now, unfortunately, it cannot accommodate what I call academic discussion on what democracy and good governance should be. Ordinarily, leadership at the presidency level should be about capacity, should be about who can do it well. But our narrative now has diminished that argument. It has elevated nepotism, it has elevated ethnicity. Two things are very dangerous to our national politics. That is religion and ethnicity. The two of them define who gets what within the national space. And that is why we are here. So that's why every other person is talking about their region. He's talking about their zone.
There has to be a turning point.
So,
There has to be a turning point.
yes, I agree with you. There has to be a turning point. But unfortunately, the issue of South and North rotational presidency is on the table. The two major political parties are talking about it. So if that is what the capacity of our democracy can carry for now, why don't we just do it until that time that the system will be able to accommodate these healthy debates on what democracy and good governance is all about? It would appear that the PDP as a party, there is a kind of agitation that the presidency must come to the South. The APC, there is equally an agitation that or let me just say, a kind of demand that the presidency should come
Now,
to the South.
zoning presidency to the South in itself
Yes.
sounds really good to the ears, but realistically speaking, it is more complicated than it really sounds, because in the South there are microzones. There is a Southwest.
No, this is it here. Let's go back to the history of this zoning of the thing.
Okay.
When PDP was coming in 1999, because of the turmoil nature of our democracy then, there was so much tension in the country. And I said, so that we don't have to go back to this, so that this democracy can endure, let us zone presidency into the two regions in Nigeria, South and North. So when it is zoned to the South can now go and scramble whoever that gets it becomes a candidate. It makes the agitation less combative, so that one region will not see itself as being, lesser than the other region. So it was basically zoning between two zonal divide of the country. So that is what the two of them are saying. The two political parties are saying zone it to the South. Then if it comes to the Southeast can say South. So it now depends on how well you play your ball, how well your candidate can connect with other zones and with the other part of the country. So what I'm saying here is very simple. You see, if in our constitution you have what I call this catchment area, you have this federal character in our constitution. If our constitution can accommodate that, then it means our constitution understands the fragility of our unity. And if it does, our democracy too must not close its eye to that fact. That is what our capacity can carry for now. It is not that some of us do not know the fact that when you begin to talk about zoning, you are killing merit. We know that. But the truth is, the way we are for now,
The truth is, we must continue to keep merit.
It may not totally pan out that way, because you cannot tell me that in the whole of the South there are no credible aspirants.
What of if in the whole of the South, people that are coming out, this is just an example. No? In the whole of the South, people that are coming out, what of if you have one candidate over there, they have better experience, better exposure, better compulsory education,
and better vision?
Yes. What about that? One person can be better than 12.
That's
it is
true.
Possible. So what we are saying is that so that's it.
Okay,
For
it
me,
is okay.
I disagree a little bit with my friend.
Okay.
Alright.
Zoning has never, ever been pronounced in the politics of Nigeria, officially. What we had in 1998-99
Yeah.
was never pronounced. And it was because we were coming from a level.
It is in the constitution of your party, your PDP.
The constitution of PDP is not the constitution of Nigeria. Get that clear.
Oh, okay.
Number two, the constitution of PDP says that party positions within the party,
Yes.
not presidential.
But federal character.
Now, they're talking about before we go ahead. Before we go, there's a lot of argument regarding the issue of federal character as entrenched.
He's making a point.
As entrenched in the Constitution and rotational president. A lot of lawyers think that they are not the same and they cannot be
Absolutely
on the same basis. But before we go on, let's listen to. There was a protest at the PDP National Secretariat yesterday. It was a peaceful one, where Southerners demanded that the presidency should be zoned to their region. We'll go listen to that and we're back to take other issues.
We are seriously concerned as patriotic Nigerians that don't flew to the presidential primaries of your party. The party is here to intimate Nigerians about its decision, in respect of where it is zoning the presidential ticket to. Recall that the rotation of power in Nigeria goes beyond more aspiration of political parties, but also a tool towards ensuring national unity and stability. In this regard, candidates from the southern Nigeria must be allowed to occupy the position of president in this country come 2023. We also wish to remind you that the established convention is that power must rotate between the north and the south. Hence, a president of northern extraction follows that of the southern extraction and vice versa. Any consideration out of this foul play may destabilize the policy.
Okay, the beauty of democracy, if you ask me, is when it is people-oriented. When people who are in power identify with the yearnings and aspirations of the people, and that's the beauty of democracy. And a larger chunk of these people want presidency to be in the South. What does this portend for the 2023 election? Because the two major political parties are yet to conduct their primary elections, though. But in the event that the ticket goes to the North, what do you think this will portend for the 2023 general election?
See, the mistake we make most of the time is for us to assume that Nigerians are incapable of rational thinking. In 1993...
Incapable or
yes,
capable?
Incapable of it.
Okay.
We are. I'm sure we are capable of rational thinking. Common sense dictates most times. In 1993, when M. Abiola was picked as the candidate, he talked about religion and ethnicity. I agree with him. But Abiola went ahead and picked King Gibe, a fellow Muslim, and Nigerians voted for them. Sometimes where we need to make concession, we do. But for you to now say, this must be, that is where I dissent a little bit. Now, talking about the two parties agitating that power should come to the South, I have no objections to it. All I'm saying is this: that power comes to the South does not in any way confer whatever argument you want to make. Like you said, one person from any region can be better than 12 in some other regions. I will say it anywhere, anytime, that what Nigerians need is a Nigerian president. That you want to rotate between North and South is not sufficient. Okay, OBJ, Obasanjo, was president for 8 years. Osinbajo has been vice president for 7 years. Now, we are clamoring that power should come to the South, and most of those contesting are from the West. So where is the fairness in that? If we want to be fair, let us be fair. Objective, let us be objective.
So in your word, what would you consider fair in this situation?
What I'm saying is, you mentioned microzoning.
No, practically speaking.
Yes, you mentioned microzoning. For me, if we must insist that the presidency should come to the South,
yeah,
then it should go to the Southeast. Nobody should contest with the Southeast.
Okay.
Yoruba has been president, South has been president. So the only region that has not been president is the Igbo. So let them have it. But nobody is talking about that. So where is the fairness? Everybody is just trying to be smart.
Okay, Mr. Ogunleye, do you agree with him on this?
Well, if you look at it from the perspective that in the South, both South and Southwest, they have both had, bite of the presidency. Yes, I agree with him. But what I'm saying here is this: politically, political platform they are all platforms of actions. If you assume a particular position to a particular zone, if one area within the zone has not been represented enough, it depends on that zone to argue their case very well.
So why do you have to argue?
What I'm saying is this: argument starts from the kind of candidate you put forward Argument starts from the number of aspirants that are coming from your area. Argument starts from the kind of program you
And
put on the table.
politics is a game of numbers.
That's what I'm saying. So if you don't put good program on the table, you don't put your best up front, and you ostracize yourself to a kind of political arrangement that will not make you get the number and the platform that can actually make you the president, it may be that you have this, you ought to have the sympathy of all. You may not
Are
have
these
it ultimately.
factors also not applicable? I mean, are these factors not applicable nationally?
We are saying the same thing here.
We're not saying the same
No,
thing.
what I'm saying is this. Listen, what I'm saying is this. Between you and I, let's be objective here. Look at our democracy. Look at internal party politics. Are you saying this ethnicity? Even look at Ondo State here. Look at some of the states. Are you saying this argument that governorship is south, governorship is central, governorship is north? Are you saying, I mean, they are not there? Even in other councillorship.
I'm not saying
I'm not talking of between Hausa, Igbo and Yoruba.
what we are talking about is the propriety of such.
The propriety.
Is this what we should be talking about?
What I'm saying is the propriety. Yes, it may not be, but the truth is, it is our reality for now. That's what I'm saying.
That cannot be corrected?
Okay.
It can be corrected.
Exactly. And we have to start from somewhere.
No, that it can be corrected.
The thing
But
is,
I'm asking you this question: between the two major political parties,
Yes.
which of the two political parties now are actually towing the part of correcting this impropriety you are discussing here?
you're a member of the All Progressives Congress.
Yes, I am.
And there have
Speak
been
from
a
your
lot,
party's
there
perspective.
have been a lot of maybe misconceptions regarding the caliber of people coming out. Because recently on this table we talked about the chances of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, who was unapologetical about saying this is his lifelong ambition, and is a man of his caliber. A man of his caliber who has been seen as a political bigwig in your party, the godfather like they call it, who has helped the political ambition of a lot of people. And now we have the likes of VP Oshimbajo, Yemi Oshimbajo, Rotimi Amechi, we have Kayode Fayemi, we have even Adams Oshiomhole, who are in the, whether or not they would pick the nomination form is a topic for another day. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. But the point remains that they are in the race against a man considered to be a political godfather in the APC. What kind of game do you think is going on in the APC right now?
Like you have said, it's a crowded race already. That's one. Two, all the names you have mentioned here, they are competent, they are qualified, and constitutionally they have the right to say they want to be president. Politics is very funny. Like I said earlier at the start of this program, those who are signifying their interest to vie for the position, they may be doing for so many reasons. It takes a seer or God to see the minds of each and every one of them. But when we look at it, you would ask yourself this question: why is it that all of them in the Southwest are coming out and almost from the same political family? Achuaju, President Yemi, Vice President Yemi, Professor Yemi Jibajo.
And that's why I asked the question, what game you think is going on? Because
yes,
to a layman, it's beginning to seem like a film trick. You
Yeah,
understand?
it's not
like a joke.
It is not film trick. Well, you may see it as a joke. What I'm saying is, until the final whistle, just like Man City and the Real Madrid match yesterday, you may not actually know.
What are the chances of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in your party?
All
That's a
the-
pointed question, right?
Yes, nobody can sit down and say,
For sure.
yeah, that Asiwaju is not an enigma, a very big one in APC. Is Asiwaju versus others, no doubt about that. But then, I wish him well, but we don't know the factor of God, and we don't know what the whole thing will play out.
mind
We
of
understand.
delegates.
We understand that. Yes, I was going to say that. The APC,
You see, The people, because politics is about the people. The people are going to populate the delegate list. And you cannot tell what horse trading and game could play out between now and the time the primary is going to be held. It could be that some people will just walk up tomorrow and say, we'll all step down for Ashwaju. And that one is about 7,000 plus delegates, will have 7,000. It could be that the party will look at it and say, okay, this is what PDP has done. Tomorrow, let's say PDP just wake up from what they are doing now and they just pick another candidate. That may mean that the party will come back with the drawing board and look at, okay, who can we pick? What is the chance, or what are the chances of the party even pick this person? And now begin to do permutation. And the permutation may bring out clearly that this is the person we should pick. And all of them may just agree against our thought now, against what we even think will happen. And say, okay, if this is the person that is coming out from PDP, we have to bring out our best too, so that the electorate, who is going to, the ultimate decider of our fate, will have argument, will have campaign issue when we take our candidate to them. So let's pick this person. So all of them may agree.
Okay.
And it may not generate the rancor we think it will generate.
Without having to second guess what the intent of APC leaders are regarding this 2023 presidency and the primary election to hold in May. End of this month. Mr. Awude, the APC made a statement through its chairman that it might not make its decision on zoning known until your party, the PDP, unveils its candidate.
The PDP is equally keeping.
That's part of the tactics of the game.
Okay.
The PDP is equally keeping to their chest.
Is that
their
tactic?
decision on zoning
Now,
too.
talking about political tactics, is that a selfish tactic, or do you think it's fair enough on all the aspirants?
Every political process is selfish.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
in this to win. My party is in this to win. So we'll do everything possible to ensure that we win. So if you call it selfish, well, that's
What about the agitation of the members
that what? But
that want the ticket to be zoned to a particular area?
it's agitation of some people, not members. All right?
These people that you talk about are
Yes.
still members of the party.
You don't have that fact.
They are members.
For
of
instance, the guy that spoke, that led the protest yesterday, someone I know very well. I don't have any fact that he's a member of the PDP.
He is.
He might as well, hold on, he might as well be a sponsored person. Whatever it is, I'm not against Southern presidency. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not against it.
I know.
If it comes to the South, beautiful. I'm a Southerner.
You don't know because his body language speaks otherwise.
No, I know him. He's my
But
very
if he
good
says he knows, I spoke for myself. I don't know.
Who is your
No, he's
your aspirant? Who are you rooting for within the
I can't make that public. I mean, I can't make that public here. That's a personal decision for me.
Your-
That's a personal
No,
decision
that's
for
a
me to
personal
take.
political
Yes, I'm
decision.
And I might not
Yes.
even have taken any position
I'm
yet.
beginning to guess who your candidate would be.
Well, you can. You are free to guess. You are free to guess. But all I'm saying is that
Okay.
what Nigeria needs really now is a president with capacity, a president with competence, a president that can turn things around.
Okay.
That's what I go for.
Another issue is the role money plays in politics, in elections in Nigeria generally. And I know this is more like a stale issue, but it's still very fresh in the memory of some of us who believe in a better Nigeria and realizing how much money, how much of commercialization is going on within the political arena. Your party, the APC, shocked the Nigerians when it said 100 million naira would be spent to pick the presidential nomination for.
2-page documents.
I mean, what does that speak to you? What's your first reaction to that?
I know my friend will talk about the number of pages of our phone. But then,
100 million naira is a lot of money.
yes, you see, that decision turned out to be a very good one. Benefit of hindsight, and I'll tell you. If our form had been 45 million like that of PDP, it is possible. Yours is 40 million.
40 million,
Yes, it is possible. The number of our aspirants may have it something like 30 by now.
And what's the crime in that? There's no crime in
The
that.
crime in that is that it makes the process difficult.
No.
How?
It gives the people better platforms to pick.
No, not
What are you
better.
talking
No,
about?
you can't.
How
No.
does it make it difficult?
If Nigeria presidency is not just for anybody. It's not for a newcomer, not even in America.
Olembe, if you give me a platform between to choose between two people,
no,
or to choose among 30 people, it's better with 30
than
with 2.
30 to me, 30 in a context of that nature, 30 is on manageable crowd. If you have 10 persons saying I want to be president, 10, 12, 15, you can have one to pick out of all of them. But when we now make it all commerce approach, even people are beginning to look at it as all commerce approach.
And the best way to screen them is through money?
No, not through money.
So what are you talking about?
Not through money. The best way to screen them is to set some criteria and say, okay, if you say you want to be president, like Ayofayose, the leader of your party, that presidency is not for another job. He's leader in the party, yes. He said presidency is not for I never shop.
And you heard what I said to him.
My
response.
Yes,
to that.
Yes. He said he said presidency is not for I never shop. To me, I want to believe that presidency is for a particular personality, particular group of people within a political process. It's not just for anybody. Before you can say you want to be president or governor, one, your track record. Two, you must have attained a kind of personality in society that if you want to pick from, you should be able to have 100 or 200 friends who can say, my friend wants to be president. His form is 100 million, 500,000, and let us just pay. If you have not attained that personality, if when you don't have the money in your pocket, it means that you have not been able to convince the people around you that you have personality to lead. So you must, it is about personality, it is about believing in this person. If you don't have people who can commit 100 million to aspiration, then you are not there. Presidency is not. This is not a game of we are selling granules.
Let me ask you a personal and direct question.
Yes.
You are an aspirant, for instance, in APC. Suppose that
Okay.
you are an aspirant and you paid 100 million naira just for the nomination form.
Okay.
If you eventually clinch the tickets, and probably fortunately enough for you, you're elected the next president, what will be your first point of duty?
My first point of duty is to lead my aspiration, to fulfill my promises to the people. If you are referring to me,
the 100 million naira will be for charity.
See, that guy is sitting here.
There wouldn't be plan for you.
That guy is sitting here. He has contested election. If you are talking about party politics and management of party processes, it's a different ballgame entirely. If a politician is interested, well, call it life ambition or a dream, if this is what he wants to be, it is not principally the money. Some of them could be for fulfillment. He's sitting there. What drives a politician is not the money. That is why it is easier for them to raise money to pursue their ambition. And when they lose money, they just walk away.
Walk away, you say?
Yes. Is it all of them at their wins like when they go for primary election? But
there are other arrangements. Some did
not even get any other consideration.
Now we have Ms. Nashola Agbola, who is SDP Secretary in the State, with us on the show this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, he's speaking to us from Ibadan, and this morning, I'm sure you've been following the conversation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just joined you now.
Oh, okay. So we've been discussing the 2023 presidency and some of the events that have been coming up, on the road to the election. Now, the question is, your party, the SDP, there are a lot of people who have said that there should be a formidable third force. APC and PDP have not done Nigerians well. It's just two political parties with, recycled leaders. Now, do you think that a third force in this situation would help Nigeria in any way?
Well, thank you very much. First, let me appreciate you for getting me involved in this matter. 2023 is so close. Whether it will be feasible or not is another matter. But as far as SDP is concerned, we are getting ready for that 2023. I don't really agree with people saying our party is the third force. It's going to be the main force to be reckoned with in this country as time goes on, because both PDP and APC APC are birds of the same feather. I cannot really differentiate between APC and PDP. Those who are accused of having ruined Nigeria socio-economically for a whooping number of maybe 16 years or so are the same people who are now finding themselves at the end of affairs in the APC today. So what is the big deal there? I continue to remember what Oshomole said at a particular time. No matter how grievous your offense is, no matter how criminal your behavior is, join APC and your sins are forgiven. What type of arrant nonsense is that? And they are behaving in tune with that type of pronouncement. So what is happening now? You start from their own their mode of primaries and whatever they've been doing, their congresses and all the rest of them. These are people who have subjected Nigeria to serious socio-economic dehumanization.
Okay, so let's bypass this blame game. I mean,
By the way, who is in SDP that was not in PDP or APC?
We have a lot of that going on. We've had a lot of that going on for about 7 years, blame game. But let's talk about your fault. I mean, there's currently a leadership crisis in your party, and
will be the major force to be reckoned with. It may take time. You later on discover that the major parties around will find their members begging, knocking at the doors of SDP. Some of them are already knocking, trying to join the SDP, but SDP remains a disciplined party, a party where we cannot afford to harbor criminals. That's what we are saying. Nigeria needs leaders who really mean well for Nigeria. SDP is the type who has not said no.
Can we ask this man a
Mr.
question?
Bola, is there a leader? I'm in charge of the questions. Is there a leadership crisis in your party, let me ask?
We have leadership crisis in all the parties in the country, so that of SDP is not peculiar.
What is your party doing? What is your party doing to better reposition it for victory, if I may say, ahead of 2023?
Yes. One, we are preparing seriously by embracing those who really mean well as our own aspirants. And when it is time for our own national conventions to primary our materials will surface, these are people who belong to the current century, not just we call them archaic people who are recycling themselves. That's not what we are saying. One. Then secondly, our party has not really laid emphasis on money, 100 million naira for nomination for. We know whoever raises 100 million money for us is all lies, it's all cockapoo story. The truth of the matter is, if you can put down your 100 million to collect,
that's an assumption. No, that's an assumption, you know.
Yes, it is, but there do have elements of truth there. The truth of the matter is, when they raise such money for form alone, you are not talking of the election money. You are not talking of their own perpetual, habitual characteristics of see and buy. The billions they want to spend. You are not talking about that. So these are the things that our party really go against. We are not ready for that. It's so unfortunate that presently, because I cannot but digress into that, it's so unfortunately that, like other parties do, we have factions in our party, but we have always been on top of the whole situation.
Okay.
We address it. Yeah.
Okay, we would have to talk about that. I mean, that's a whole issue on its own. Probably in subsequent editions, you would come to the studio physically so we can thrash some of these issues out. Thank you very much. We have to go now because of our time, Mr. Bola. Thank you very much. Okay, you just heard the voice of SDP Publicity Secretary in Indo State, Mr. Ashola Bola, and I mean, what reaction are you giving me? He's also in the polity.
Dayo has one question that sums it up. He said, who is in
SDP today?
That has not been.
That was not in PDP or APC.
At some point.
Yes. So, I mean, anyway. Let's talk about some other things.
Okay, yeah, I would have loved us to go on the show this morning, but because of our time, we have to run at the moment. But first, before we go, Mr. Ude, what will be your parting shot? This conversation is a running story.
Naturally.
Definitely, up until 2023, after election, we will start talking about.
Well, I would just want to advise Nigerians to have a global perspective. Let us believe in this system. Nigeria can still work if we want to make it work. I'll stop at that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogunleye, your parting shot.
Yes, Nigeria can work and it will work. We are getting towards that particular border where all of us will see that if we continue in the old ways, we will not get solution to our problems until we change. And that time, we will have one series where we must change. So we must keep faith, we must have hope in the system. It will certainly work.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program, and my appreciation also goes to Mr. Sholagola for joining us on the show this morning. Mr. Ogunleye.
We're not going to, well, anyway, I don't know whether I was going to contest on the SDP.
The main force. The main force is.
Okay, that's a good place
but I know that if anybody must contest election in Nigeria, our reality is that you must spend money.
Nigerians are tired of APC and PDP. That's the truth.
Well, I'm a Nigerian.
That's your opinion.
That's
your opinion.
Your party members.
It is still the same people who go to other parties. So what are we talking about?
Until next week Thursday, we'll be back on another edition of the program. Thank you for joining us on our Facebook Live. We couldn't read comments today. We apologize for that. Next week will be another time. My name is Olabisi Olani Oluwasegun. Good morning and thank you for listening.
Manufacturers.